Rancho del Lago 2021, and I'm CheryLynn. Hi, welcome back. Well, it is a couple of days after Election Day 2024, and if you are watching this now, you know exactly what happened. If you are watching it a long time in the future, take a look back and see what happened. But it is going to bring many changes on a global level. Many changes. And a lot of people who are interested in becoming homesteaders might be looking at this a lot more closely because of the thought process that you might want to become more self-sufficient, not quite into a survivalist mode, but homesteading is being more self-sufficient. Checking into things like food sources. Do I want to grow my own food? If so, how much land do I need? If I can afford that, how small of a parcel can I get away with to supply a family of 2 or 4 or 6? How many animals can I grow? What kind of animals? How much does it cost? Is it going to be beneficial financially to supply my own meat and eggs and possibly milk and cream and on and on and on? Because a homestead can, depending on what kind of homestead you want, supply you with all of those needs and more. Vegetables, fruits, meat, dairy, eggs. Another thing that you can do is to join in with several people in your community and start a food co-op. Back in, oh my gosh, I'm going to say 1975, 76, even 77 era or area of time, I did belong to a food co-op, lived out in the country on 5 acres, swapped, bartered with neighbors. We were very, very not rich. We were dirt poor. My husband was in college. I had 2 babies, and I had a third one while we were out there. But we did a lot of things like that, and the food co-op was fantastic. Bartering is fantastic. But if you get a lot of people together with you, that just means that you alone don't have to cover all the bases. Trading, swapping, bartering is a fantastic way. I need honey, somebody else raises the bees. Great, I swap them for duck eggs. And somebody wants rabbit meat, and I swap them for some pieces of beef. Or, you know, the list goes on, and the creative ways that you can do bartering and farming and homesteading, trading. You will get by, but it's not just food sources. Now it's other things too, like getting yourself as much off grid as possible. We have solar panels, and we have solar heat for our water, so we can provide some electricity and hot water. Now we have a backup hot water system that is run by gas. Here it's natural gas. And we have the gas man come around for BS like every 3 months. So I get gas. The amount of electricity that I use is far less from the community source, because I can provide a lot of my own, and upping that, finding out what to use, how to do, what's the best way to put it in the first place. What about upgrades? All of those things. Those are important things to know if you are going to take steps toward being more self-sufficient, less dependent on the government resources that might or might not be available to you. So, going forward in my videos, we're going to work on those kinds of topics. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what we have, because I've talked to you exhaustively about all the animals, and we'll continue that, but what we have as far as solar. It's not sufficient. It might have been when we first got here, but things have changed. We use more electricity now. Our consumption has increased because of other things that we're doing. So I don't do heights. No, I don't climb on roofs. So I'm going to get in a position where you can see from where I stand the solar panels on the roof, and I'll do a little bit of explaining on those. From this side, which is the north side of the house, you can see my solar panels up on the second floor roof of my art studio. I'll go around the other side of the house so you can see that side of them too. We have a total of 4 panels, which when it was configured, the company that we bought them from said for our consumption at that time, 4 panels would be sufficient. 4 panels today are not sufficient. We have a refrigerator upstairs. We have a refrigerator freezer downstairs. We have a washer and dryer, but the dryer is on gas. But then when we add that we have a small chest freezer and a commercial refrigerator in the carport for other things that we do, that really increased the consumption. So we don't have air conditioning. We're open air here. And so I do run ceiling fans and floor fans in the hottest part of the year. Some ceiling fan activity a lot of the year. And, you know, just generally the lights and things like that. So 4 panels was sufficient, but my bills have been climbing. So we're going to look at adding some panels and in the not too distant future, possibly adding the battery storage system. Now, the only reason I say possibly is because I was very sure I wanted that before, but now I'm not so sure because I want to explore some alternative storage methods. I am not at all thrilled with anything that requires a lithium battery or any lithium parts. I think that that is really doing great harm to our Mother Earth. And so, again, I can't afford it right now anyway, but I will have to be doing some additional research before I make a move in that direction. Well, unfortunately, from this angle, and those 2 big windows are for my art studio, you can only see another little tiny piece of the 4-panel solar system that's up there. Let me try another angle. So as you could see from the video, I really could not see a whole lot from downstairs, and even when I went upstairs on the Mirador, the angle is so low, like this, not up like this, because we have completely clear around us. No trees blocking those solar panels anywhere. It's just open sky. So they're angled down like this to take more of the sun, all the hours that the sun is up. And from here, I'd say probably 8 o'clock in the morning, you're getting a good sun, you know, pounding on it, to about 7 o'clock at night. So at this time of year, and it'll get a little bit shorter. And then in the time of the year where the sun shines most, we actually get like 12, 13 hours of sun a day. So those 4 solar panels were gathering enough to run a good share of my house with minuscule, and I do mean minuscule, electric bills. Of course, our electric bills here, because we don't, most of us don't use air conditioning. Some people have what they call mini splits that they put in individual rooms. Some people have saunas, some people have pools, some people have all kinds of things that draw far more electricity than I use here. But as I explained, we do have the extra commercial refrigerator and freezer that do pull a lot as well. So my electric consumption increased from the point, and I'm going to describe it in pesos and then I'll kind of give you a conversion rate. From the point where it was maybe 400 to 600 pesos every 2 months. We only get a bill here every other month. So let's just say 600 pesos. 600 pesos, you drop a digit, so that becomes 60, and you cut that in half. So that becomes $30 for 2 months. $15 a month electricity. I imagine most of you who are living in the States or Canada would just love to have a bill come to you that was $15 for a month. But now it has increased with the addition of appliances, and I can sometimes be paying 1,000 pesos per 2-month bill. So that would be 500, drop a digit, 50, 25. So that's still $25 a month, which is not atrocious in any way, shape, or form, but it's far more than I need to be paying. So again, I've already talked to the man who supplies us with solar and gotten some configurations for adding a couple panels to the system, 2 to 4 panels depending, and also adding that battery storage system. What that would do, and part of my cost there would be converting, because it does require a little bit different kind of equipment having to do with the AC and the DC, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, from up on the roof, that collects the opposite kind of charge of what we use in our house. So it collects and it converts, and then it goes into the house and uses whatever we need to use. And any excess then flows out into a special kind of a meter provided to us by the local municipality electric company, which is actually across all of Mexico. And CFE are the initials for it. And then they actually give us 100% credit on our bill for any amount that we feed back into their lines that they can then reuse for other people. That's very unlike in the US. In some places in the US, it's not even legal to have. In some places, the electric company will give you a portion of the credit, like maybe 50% or 25% of what you feed back into them. Here, we get 100%. So that's another added bonus. Now, the battery storage systems are not cheap, and they're built now to last, 5 to 8 years. So the longevity is still limited. But if you're going to be off-grid completely, where you just don't even have the opportunity to hook up to a municipal grid, or if you're going to be like me in an area where the municipal grid is there, and you're actually even using it as a backup, but you want to push it further to the backup, so that right now I can only use exactly what we collect. There's no place to store, like those 13, 14-hour sunny days. I can't store all of that extra. What I use, I use. What I don't goes back to the municipal company. But with a storage system, and you might want 1 or 2 or 3 battery storage units, then you can store enough to fully run a house. Mine would be running, my house is 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and then upstairs we have a 1-bedroom, 1-bath casita and a separate little upstairs building for my art studio, none of which take a horrible amount of electricity. But, we run all that on 4 panels and whatever extra I have to use from the CFE storages. But these units are built to keep running your home for maybe 7-8 hours each. And if you don't have or can cut back on the electricity that you're using, like unplug appliances that aren't being used, etc., it could last even longer. And then if you have 2 or 3 of those, you know, at night you hardly use any at all anyway. So just during your daylight hours, one of those batteries could actually do the majority of the day. And then if your electric was out for several days, or you just didn't have an option, one can be being used while another one is being charged, you know. So anyway, that's the area I would like to get to, but my concern is the lithium, and I will be researching that further. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about this, and I will be covering this in a very, very soon video, is land. Finding land, buying land, choosing the right kind of land, depending on what you want. And this can apply to you whether you're here where I am or not. But with the recent events, there are many people who are seriously considering taking up residence outside the borders of the U.S. Well, I did 6.5 years ago, so I can only tell you from my own experience. In any case, finding that land in this country, Mexico, and making sure that you don't make drastic mistakes, that is very important. Keep following me. In fact, if you would just subscribe, that will give you the opportunity to not miss any of the videos that I put out. And finding land is got to be your first step if you want to even just build a house, not even homestead. But if you want to homestead in any way, you've got to have some land. Now me, again, for anybody who's watched any of my older videos, I have the equivalent of like 1/3 of an acre. On that, I have a small herd of goats, 10. I have rabbits, probably about 40 or 50 right now. I have turkeys. I have a big yard for dogs and cats because we have participated with rescues, and we have 5 dogs and 7 cats that live here now. We have ducks and geese and chickens. And I'm in the process of incubating to increase those numbers. So animals, we have a lot. Fruit trees, I have some of. I keep losing 1 or 2. We have a severe problem here with something called cutter ants, leaf cutter ants, okay? So I replace them. So we have probably a half dozen fruit trees. What I haven't been able to do is establish a good vegetable garden. I need help because my thumbs are not green, and I'm terrible at it. So, plus the soil here is not great, so it constantly needs to be amended. And the products that we get here are not comparable to the products that you can get just about anywhere so readily in the United States. We're very limited to brands and different varieties within those brands. It's something we deal with, but that's okay. So land and power, 2 of the biggest things. So I hope you'll come back and see the next video, which I'm going to concentrate on the different kinds of land, finding someone who can help you not make mistakes or help you to avoid making mistakes, and go from there. But if recent events have affected you emotionally, spiritually, maybe even just a motivator to get off your butt and do something you've been wanting to do for years, stick with me and watch all of the things that you can learn, because as I learn, I share it with you. Thanks again for being here at Rancho del Lago 2021, and we'll see you again soon.